Babylock has released a new cover stitch machine called the Applaud. Let's talk about it. If you're new to my channel, my name is Cherie, and thanks so much for watching. Some of you are completely unaware of what a cover stitch machine is, so let me go ahead and try to explain that as best as I can. On most ready-to-wear garments, you will see a line of double stitching, and underneath that on the back side, you will find a chain. That is your cover stitch. And also you will find that same stitch on your collars of your garments too. And that just adds a little bit of extra stretch and extra give to a garment. And it's especially important to use that type of stitch when you are wearing a stretchy material so that those stitches don't pop loose. If you have used a cover stitch machine before that is one of the vintage type, you will know that it is a pain in the behind to thread the darn thing. But with Babylock, they of course have the air threading system, so you don't have to thread it. You basically just press a button and it threads itself. Also, there's no tensions adjustments to have to make with this machine because it has technology built in to where it auto detects what the proper tension on the machine should be, and those are both wonderful things. Those features are quite common to all of Babylock's sergers and cover stitch machines and have been for a very long time, but now they have introduced two features that are first time features on this Applaud. And I am very careful when I say that something is a first time feature because sometimes it's actually not. They are advertising that for the first time they are adding needle up down to this cover stitch machine. Also, there is a new dual wiper system that allows you to create two new stitches on this cover stitch machine, so you can kind of get creative with those top stitches on your machine and not just have to use the double needle stitch that you would normally find on a garment that has cover stitch applied to it. So in total, you have 7 stitches on this machine. The 5 general ones that you will find on any cover stitch machine, which are the triple, wide, narrow, and chain stitches. And then you have those 2 decorative stitches that are used with that dual wiper system. Those 2 decorative stitches have somewhat of a bohemian look, but they can be made to look different depending on what type of thread that you use in the needles. And that is a really cool feature because it just adds something different to quilting projects, but it can also add something different to your garments. I have stated all the benefits of having the Applaud. Now let's go ahead and discuss the things that might make you want to not purchase this machine. The Applaud is listed at $4,500. That is an astronomical price considering that there's only a select number of sewing projects that you can complete solely by using a cover stitch machine. For the average person, they will also need a sewing machine for turning tight corners and making things like buttonholes. Now, I do understand that some of you still do need a cover stitch machine for finishing your knitwear garments. However, before you consider the Applaud, think about whether or not you're going to use the dual wiper system to use those 2 additional stitches that come on the machine, because if you're not, then you may be better off just purchasing a standard cover stitch machine because you are paying a little bit more for that dual wiper system. If you only sew a few knitwear projects per year, then it would make more sense to utilize the twin needles on your sewing machine. I know that twin needles can be a bit finicky, but it makes more sense to use them instead of purchasing an entire dedicated machine when you're only going to use the function a few times a year anyhow. There's 2 things that you can do to increase your success with stitching with twin needles on a standard sewing machine. The first thing that you can do is to actually increase the stitch length on the machine. This way there are more stitches per inch so that you have a reduced chance of having your thread popping. Another thing that you can do is to put woolly nylon down in the bobbin area, and I can say that I have never had any issues with thread breaking with woolly nylon in the bobbin area. So that's just something to think about. If you have not already taken the time to do so, please do give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. Also, I know that a lot of people don't like the Singer Touch and Sew machines. However, I do have a Touch and Sew in my storage that I am about to restore because it has a chain stitch on it. If you can find a Touch and Sew out in the wild, I definitely would suggest maybe picking one up and using that for a single chain stitch because those offer some stretch to garments as well, and it may be just all that you need to complete the projects that you would like to complete instead of spending a lot of money on a brand new dedicated machine. One other thing that I've never heard anyone mention is the hidden costs associated with owning a cover stitch machine. The Applaud can accept up to 6 cones of thread, which means that you may potentially need to purchase 6 cones of threads in order to complete your project. And that's not even considering that you most likely are going to need thread for your sewing machine and your overlocker as well. This is my overlocker, and the cheapest I have been able to get individual cones of threads for is about $3. So that means that you would potentially be spending $18 just on cover stitch thread alone. And that's not even considering that you may want to spend a little bit more money on higher quality threads, given that you have spent so much money on the Applaud. The Applaud accepts up to 3 needles, but for most projects, folks are most likely going to be using 2. So that means you're going to need 2 needles for your cover stitch machine, 2 for your overlocker, and then another one for your sewing machine. And the price of needles has gone up as of late, and that can really add up. The Applaud only comes with 2 presser feet in the box, so that means if you need additional presser feet for the machine, then you will have to pay for that separately. And the feet for the Applaud are currently costing around $50 a piece, and that is quite pricey and yet another thing to consider before going out and purchasing the Applaud. The Applaud weighs 26.8 pounds and it is 17.5 in width, 12 in height, and 11.5 in depth. Now, its saving grace is that it has a handle on top so that you can carry the machine around. However, most people who sew do not have an entire dedicated sewing room where they can have space for 3 different machines, because you would need to have your sewing machine, your serger, and your cover stitch machine all set up. So it really makes not a ton of sense for the average person to have such a large machine in their space. They do have the overlocker cover stitch combination machines, and I think that those are a better bang for your buck if you get one that makes it easy to switch between cover stitch and overlock mode. Otherwise, it's just a big old pain in the behind to have to switch between modes when you're sewing. But guys, what do you all think about the Babylock Applaud? Would you be in the market for a machine like this? Or do you think that it's pretty much pointless for the average home sewist to own one of these $4,500 machines? Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe to receive more sewing related content. Peace.